Hi, my name's Hunter. I live in a small cottage far away from town where the woods begin. My uncle has to drive me to school every day because the bus doesn't go that far, but I don't like it there. The kids, they laugh at me and call me a country bumpkin. I didn't know my parents, and so they would say that my mom was a cow called Bessie. One day, the richest of the kids, whose dad owned a factory in town, told me I was invited to his birthday party. His name was Chris. He gave me the address, and I had Uncle Mo drive me all the way to the other edge of town. I told him to just drop me off, as I didn't want the other kids to see him and laugh again when they see that he wears stained overalls and is perpetually chewing on grass. It had only reinforced the image I'm trying to outgrow. So I waved goodbye as Uncle Mo drove away, and I made my way into the huge house. But I didn't know why I didn't find it odd that the place looked abandoned. And when I knocked, nobody answered. There wasn't even a peep, just some rustling of what sounded like grass. I pushed the massive doors open and just realized that I hadn't been standing outside a house this whole time. It was a barn. There was a cow wearing a sash that said Mom, and a massive pig that was named Dad. And over the animals was a streamer crudely done by teenagers that said Reeves Family Reunion. I ran out of the barn, but Uncle Mo was long gone. I had to walk all the way home. And when Uncle Mo found out what happened, he ran to his car, dragged me with him, and sped through the roads until we reached Chris's house where the party was still going on. He burst through the doors, and everyone was shocked at the sight of him. He immediately ran towards Chris, grabbed him by the collar, and dangled him above everyone. "I'm done with your shenanigans, kid. You ever so much as look at Hunter sideways, I will—" "You'll what, Mo?" "Your rat-faced son has been tormenting my nephew, and he deserves to be punished." "And you're trespassing. Guards." Of course he had guards. He was the richest man in town after all. Uncle Mo and I got thrown out of there, and it wasn't great. We caused a bit of a spectacle, and a lot of the people from the town were there. News spread, and Uncle Mo was punished for defending me. Nobody came to the farm to buy stuff from him anymore. He was thrown out of the market stall he rented in town. And slowly, we ran out of money. I had no other choice but to drop out of school and work with Uncle Mo. Chris and his friends passed by the farm every day. They drove all the way out there in their expensive car, and they'd throw trash at us and call us hillbillies. The only person I could turn to was Mira. She was the daughter of the farmer who lived right across from our farm. But after catching a glimpse of Chris driving by in his dad's Mercedes, Mira fell head over heels immediately. I knew that Mira had said something about having a sugar daddy someday, but I thought she was completely joking. As soon as Chris even looked at her, she made sure his eyes were stuck on her. And every weekend I had to watch as my former childhood best friend would flirt with my nemesis right next door. One afternoon I cornered Mira. "What? I told you not to talk to me anymore. We're not on the same level anymore. I have a rich boyfriend now." "Well, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Chris is probably just using you to get to me." "How dare you! You're just jealous! I know you've been crushing on me ever since we were kids, but seriously, this is just pathetic." That's not... But Mira didn't even let me say one more word. From that day on, she ignored me. I was left with no other friends, and Uncle Mo's farm was bringing less and less money. We were down to having one meal a day, and it was really getting to us. I had tummy aches every day, and Uncle Mo was tired all the time. Our gas got switched off because we couldn't pay our bills anymore, and we had to resort to cooking our food in the fireplace. It was shaping out to be a tough winter, too, so we didn't know how we were going to survive it. I was gathering firewood in the woods one afternoon when I heard a cry. My dog's ears perked up, and then he ran straight into the bushes. "Fenton! Fenton, no! Fenton!" I ran after Fenton. Over the brambles and under the branches I raced, and the voice that was asking for help grew louder and louder. And then I heard splashing noises, too. "Help! Please! Somebody!" I ran faster to try and catch up to my dog, and then I burst through a wall of leaves and almost fell into a rushing river. Uncle Mo always told me to stay away from it. There were many, many stories of unwitting tourists getting swept away by it. And sure enough, in the middle of the water, a girl was flapping her arms about trying to get above the water. "Help me! Help! Please!" I knew it was dangerous. The current was strong and the water was deep where she was. I knew I was risking it all. But I jumped in anyway. I swam as fast as I could, but the undercurrent kept pulling at my legs. And then before I knew it, I was being pulled under. I could feel the strain on my muscles, and suddenly I had a cramp. The water took me, and I rolled in the current. I was so sure I was a goner until my back hit something hard. I was miraculously saved by a fallen tree that had gone underwater. I grabbed it and inched my way back to the top. And as I gasped for air, I realized that both I and the girl I was trying to save were stuck on the same tree. I grabbed her, and with all the strength left in my body, I swam ashore. Fenton was so concerned he started jumping up and down and barking. He grabbed my shirt with his teeth and helped pull us both out of the water. And when we got out, Fenton wagged his tail and licked my face. I looked down at the girl whose head was on my lap and just realized how beautiful she was. I ran to Uncle Mo for help. He drove us to the hospital, and I left a note for the girl. I moved on with my life, and soon enough the whole fiasco felt like it was some weird fever dream. I didn't even think of her again after we dropped her off at the hospital, and we were told she was going to be okay. Uncle Mo and I had a really tough winter, and it got to a point where he had to list the farm up for sale. Nobody wanted to buy it thanks to our reputation in town. We did open house after open house, but our only visitors were the flies that would land on the cookies that Uncle Mo baked in case somebody viewed the house. Uncle Mo dropped the price and still nobody came. Until, over 2 months later, a huge parade of cars came rumbling down the dirt road, and people poured out. I thought we were saved. Until we saw who the people were. It was Chris and his gang, and someone who I didn't recognize at all. "Come on, old man. Nobody's buying this piece of garbage farm you own. My girlfriend and I want a place of our own, and this location's perfect. That way she'll never miss home again." But you're asking me to slash the farm's price in half." "Give in already, you old bat. Nobody's going to buy this stump. It's tainted." "Watch what you call my uncle, Mira." "And you watch your tone with my girl, or I'm going to lower my offer even more." Uncle Mo stopped me from saying anything else. The look in his eyes told me he was ready to give up. "Uncle, no." "It's the best offer we're going to get." "No, it's not." Everyone turned around to an unfamiliar voice. She just popped out of nowhere. It was the girl I didn't recognize, but when I looked at her again, I realized. "You're the girl you rescued from the river. I've been looking for you for weeks." "Why?" "What do you mean, why? You saved my life, and I wanted to thank you, properly." Zola and Chris got into a bidding war, but eventually even Chris couldn't match Zola's offer that was 5 times more than what Chris's dad had in the bank. Uncle Mo couldn't believe his ears. We were millionaires, just like that. He fainted. And when he came to, he hugged Zola and thanked her. I then turned to Mira. "Better get ready to move out then." "What? Why?" "'Cause I'm buying your dad's farm with the money I just got." Mira begged me not to kick them out after I'd hired a lawyer to buy them out. But I showed them no mercy. There's one thing I couldn't forgive, and that was how she betrayed me for Chris's attention. And speaking of Chris, I put up a competing factory right in front of theirs. And with Zola's help, we toppled their entire company in a matter of months. Zola and I got closer as time went on, and one day we both just realized that we'd fallen in love with each other. I proposed to her, and a year later, we were married. The ceremony was at the beach, and just as we were about to say our vows, somebody shouted my name. Everyone looked at the back of the seats, and stumbling through the sand was Chris. Please, man, my family and I are living under a bridge. Please, can I borrow some money?" Everyone laughed at how far Chris had fallen. "Under a bridge? Like trolls?" Everyone laughed again. "You made my life hell, Chris. Now, go back to being a troll while I enjoy my special day with my wife." I kissed Zola, and our friends and family cheered to the beginning of our married life.